Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Toonhounds, your fortnightly foray into all things animated. I'm Rich Masters and with me as always is my prince among cats, my god of the forest, Spivzy.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
I'm good. We haven't spoken much recently because I've been off social media. So I've been off Discord and stuff.
It's fun, isn't it, not being on social media?
It's very freeing. I find myself far less angry.
Yeah,
because I'm not around people so much. And that's not a dig at anyone in particular that, regularly I talk to you and Sean and Poppy. So it's it's hardly like you're making me angry. But I think social media is this unfiltered mess and people say things without really thinking about them.
Yeah.
And I think being exposed to that all the time is quite tiring.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I've been off social media pretty much exclusively. And it's been quite nice.
Yeah, it's good to have a little break from it all.
Little break now and again.
I've done this
now.
I've done this fantastic thing on Blue Sky. You know, the top bar on Blue Sky, it has the feeds that you can get, and there's a Discover feed where you can get I don't know who this person is, but the algorithm has decided that I want to see their opinions on everything. I've turned it off. It's fantastic. It's not there anymore. Good. So now I've only got the following feed.
The thing is, you used to be able to do that with X or Twitter. I don't know why I called it X, actually.
The
Twitter.
Everything app.
Yeah, because you used to be able to do that, and then the dickhead who runs it now decided that, no, he wanted everyone to see his stupid, uninformed opinions. So
it's bad there.
Yeah, never mind. It is bad.
It's bad online.
It's bad everywhere, to be honest. So I'm just retreating into my own little corner of the world, and it's quite nice. I turned all my... it's going to sound like I'm going completely off the grid, but I turned all my PlayStation Network feeds off and stuff like that, so I've disconnected them.
Great.
I've not got any widgets or anything working on my laptops. I sort of am. What I want to be is one of those Russian saints who goes to the woods and heals people, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Living in a cabin.
Yeah.
Right. Talking of retreat into the woods.
Oh, what a segue.
And nature, we're talking about Studio Ghibli films today.
So, first thing I want to talk about the studios. Is it Ghibli, Ghibli? I
don't know.
No,
I've always said Ghibli.
I've always said Ghibli or Ghibli.
Ghibli, I suppose, is probably. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna check on how to pronounce.
I couldn't find anything. I tried looking it up. There's probably a website which is how to say Studio Ghibli, and it'll be a robot voice.
Ghibli.
Is it Ghibli?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to restructure our neurons,
thought processes. But yeah, so we picked one that we have seen probably many, many times, right?
Nope. This is the second time I'd seen it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I've seen Princess Mononoke about somewhere between 50 and 100 times, I would say.
That's a lot of times.
That's a lot of times. It is definitely in my top 5 animations of all time. Animated products, let's just say that. So my review for it is going to be quite high, spoilers, obviously. But I'd never seen The Cat Returns.
I'd seen it before. Yeah, I didn't.
I remember saying to you, I'd never. It's one of the only ones I've never seen.
Well, now you have.
Now I have.
Click that. Put that on your list. Check that one off.
It's. I think Ghibli sits into sort of pre and post Mononoke period, right? Where everything before 1995 is really happy and optimistic.
Oh, no, it's not. Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh, Grave of the Fireflies. I forgot about that. All right. Well, so Miyazaki basically swings between nihilism and optimism, right?
Yeah.
And there's no middle ground with him.
It's usually environmental nihilism.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Or the horrors of war.
Yeah. Or the encroachment of civilization on nature, which is a big thing in especially early 90s anime.
Yeah. But there are... When you look at products of Ghibli and Miyazaki together, in terms of, like, this is the animation studio that produced Princess Mononoke and Totoro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there could not be more different animations.
Yeah.
It's animated films.
With Studio Ghibli, you don't know going in how much blood and gore you're going to get.
And this is well, just briefly, Mononoke is a PG. I am very surprised by that.
Yeah, that is very surprising. People get their heads chopped off.
Yeah, well, it's very...
Very, very bloody.
Very bloody. There's a lot of blood and gore in it. But what we decided is we're going to start light today, and we're going to talk about The Cat Returns.
Yeah.
Did you... Right, can I ask? I deliberately watched the dubbed because I knew you would watch the sub.
Yeah, I watch subbed. Yeah, I always watch the
Excellent.
Sub. Yeah.
So normally I do. But I deliberately didn't because I wanted to sort of like give myself a sort of different watching experience. Right out of the gate, so good. The dubbed version.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway is so good.
Yeah.
You've got Anne Hathaway, Kristen Bell, Elliot Gould, Carrie Yules, if that's how you say his name, Princess Bride guy.
I don't know.
Elwes.
I don't know.
Well, I'm not doing it. Ghibli is enough. The guy from Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else you got. René Auberjonois is
what's his name's in it? Rocky Horror. I can't remember what his name is.
Oh yeah. Damn it.
He's like the most famous person in there, and I can't remember what his name is. Tim Curry.
Tim Robbins.
Tim
Curry, yeah. Robbins is...
Tim Robbins is from Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption. No. Yeah?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Who's the guy from Reservoir Dogs? Tim...
Roth,
that's it. That's what I thought. Right, okay. We're 3 Tims down. They're all back in their boxes. But the dub was really good.
Yeah.
Particularly
good.
Anne Hathaway. So good. Like, she was just such a good Haru. She was really, really good. Like, much better than I've seen her act.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But, like, just such a great voice actor. She was, like, on it. She was
That's great.
Perfect. And Kristen Bell was really good as her friend as well.
Hiromi. Yeah.
Hiromi. But the sub is good as well.
Yeah, the sub is really good. Yeah. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's so much fun.
I watched this one with Evan.
Yeah, I thought you would.
He was laughing all the way through.
It's really funny.
It is really funny. There is the bit that sticks out in my mind that I'll never forget is the cats with the walls on their back.
Yeah,
in the maze,
like dominoes.
So funny, so funny.
It's got one of my favourite gags in any kind of cartoon is somebody does something offensive or inadvisable. Everybody gives them a stare, and then the next shot is them getting thrown from somewhere.
Yeah,
and they do this. Yeah, they do it twice, and it's so funny both times.
I am convinced the meme of the guy in the office getting thrown from the window is directly from this.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about Cat Returns?
Yeah.
Because I envision that a lot of our audience, if they have watched, let's say, 10% of Studio Ghibli back catalogue, this probably isn't in that 10% they would have picked.
Yeah. Unless, like me, the first time I watched this was because the Studio Ghibli Blu-ray collection, for some reason, this is number 2 in the collection after Nausicaa. They don't do it in release order. I don't know
weird.
what the ordering reasoning is, but this is the second one in the collection, so that's why I'd seen it before.
Where is it in the release order? Because I think
far
that's
down.
important.
It's from 2002, so this was like
late.
Quite a way. I think it's like 14 or 15.
Whereas it feels like a really early Ghibli film.
It does, yeah. It feels like one from the early 90s. I think it's
Okay,
because it reminds me a bit of Sherlock Hound. Like that sort of like mid-80s children's anime sort of feel to it.
Okay, so do you want me to run through the order?
Yeah, please.
Nausicaa.
Yep.
Which I'm always surprised is the first one because it's so good.
Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, they started on a high with that one.
Castle in the Sky, still good. Grave for the Fireflies, great. Totoro, which is a bit middling, but as far as a kids' production, great. Kiki, which is so under...
that one surprises me it's so early as well. It was from 89, wasn't it?
89, yeah.
Yeah.
But Kiki, I feel, is a great film, and it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Then you've got Only Yesterday, which I'm not too fond of. Porco Rosso, which is great. Ocean Waves, which is another sort of middling one.
We were always going to do Porco Rosso for this.
We were. I think we need to do a Ghibli too.
Yeah.
Whisper of the Heart, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbours the Yamadas, Spirited Away, Cat Returns, Howl's Moving Castle, Tales from Earthsea, Ponyo, which I'm always surprised is so late, Arrietty, Poppy Hill, Wind Rises, Princess Kaguya, When Marnie Was There, Earwig and the Witch, and The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just running through those, there's nothing lower than a 7 there, I'd say.
Maybe the Earwig one, because...
Yeah, that's not great, is it?
That one's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't look like a Miyazaki film either.
No, it doesn't. No, it looks like a Dragon Quest movie.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not. It's not great. But like, there were some bangers in there.
Yeah,
we could do about 4 or 5
Yeah.
Ghibli episodes, and we'd still not be finished, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Cat Returns quite late on in the.
Yeah, quite late on in the run, but has
run.
the feel of a classic Ghibli movie. I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, like comparing it to Mononoke, I would say that the animation quality isn't quite as clean. It's a lot more jaggedy. It feels more like a made-for-TV anime rather than a feature film.
Yeah, it feels like Miyazaki didn't have his like tight rein. As he used to, right? There are not as many big bustling town scenes or anything like that.
Yeah, which is,
and there's a lot of.
It's interesting because I read the manga that it's based on as well.
Okay,
Baron the Cat, where there's a lot of scenes in the manga where there are like townsfolk and people around all the time. Like when she's being carted off by the cats to the cat kingdom. In the movie, there's nobody around and it's nighttime and the streets are empty. In the manga, she's going through crowds of people and they're all like reacting to this crowd of cats everywhere.
Huh.
So that was.
I don't know how. I think that's a better thing that no one knows and everyone thinks she's mad.
Yeah.
And her mum is like, oh, she's just a precocious child.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. I like that. I liked that part of her character. It felt like you should question whether or not she is able to speak to cats in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I love Haru as a character.
I do as well. I think she's great. Yeah.
She reminds me of the older girl from Totoro.
Yeah.
Not May. Can't remember her name. But she reminds me of a continuation of that character. That looks sort of like touched by magic kid who then grows up into an awkward teenager. I like that. And I'm always I like awkward Japanese teen politics.
Yeah.
I love it. It's one of the things about anime and manga that I really like.
Yeah, I like anything to do with like school councils or anything like that, where people have to do jobs at the school. It's great. I loved it in Lost Judgment, the PlayStation game from the Yakuza people, because the whole plot of that game is you working as like a counsellor for students at the school.
Right.
So you get involved in all of the school politics and have to like solve mysteries for them and stuff.
That's really cool. This was one of the cheaper Ghibli films as well, wasn't it? It was like $20 million.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly expensive one. Yeah, because when I was watching Mononoke, I thought this has got been a high budget because this does not look like it's from 1997.
No, it like if they released it today, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the basic plot of The Cat Returns is Haru Yoshioka is she's going to school with a friend, and she sees a cat about to get hit by a truck. There's all this other stuff about like her school life and stuff, but that's not particularly important for the
she's just a chaotic girl.
Yeah, she's just average teen. She sees a cat nearly getting run over by a truck, and she runs in front of the truck and catches the cat with a lacrosse stick and saves its life. And
That's so funny.
The cat stands on its hind legs, bows to her, and thanks her for saving her life, and then disappears. And then later on, cats keep appearing around her, and a parade of cats appear. This is one of the scenes which is like it's directly lifted from the manga. It's exactly the same. The first like third of the film is really, really, really similar to the first chapter of the manga, with some like there's a couple of differences in like setting and characterization and stuff. Like her best friend is a lot angrier in the manga. Like she's more irritated that she broke the lacrosse stick, whereas in the film she says, the cat's life is worth more than that.
Yeah. But that's nice. I like that they changed it, because they didn't have the time to develop her, really, so it'd be a shame to make her a dick. Yeah.
And this parade of cats appear and tell her she's going to get all of these presents and goodies, and her, I think they call it like unlimited happiness or something. And all of the presents she gets are things that cats would like. Yeah,
it's so funny. It's just so funny when she opens her locker and there's little boxes of mice in there, or when they put catnip in her pocket and all the alley cats chase her. It's just really funny because you think what the fuck is going on. Yeah, all in the garden. And she's allergic to them.
The differences in that between the manga and the anime were that the cattails are at the school. That the entire playing field where they do lacrosse is now covered in cattails.
That's quite clever.
Yeah, and the catnip is just a smell that like permeates around them. It's like somebody burning catnip around the alleyways. And the mice are sent to their house in tin cans, and a mom opens them.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I like both of those, but I understand why they changed it, because if you've got to do the scene of her going through her usual daily life, she starts at home, she ends at school, and then she starts going home, right?
Yeah. The school doesn't feature at all in the manga.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like you see them outside the school, and they talk about things happening at the school, but they're never actually in the school. Like it's like a narrative flashback more than anything else, where she's saying like when she was late for class and got embarrassed, she just mentions it in the manga, but in the anime like we see it actually happen. And I thought that was fun as well, when she tries to sneak in and gets immediately caught, but he hasn't even like turned around to see her. I like that.
Well, also it embarrasses her, but he's not mean to her.
No, yeah.
He says like, go and sit down, we can see you, there's no point trying to sneak in. Which is really good. I really liked that.
She's told that her last like prize is she is being chosen to marry the prince of the cats, Prince Loon.
Yeah. Is it Andy Richter, isn't it?
It's what?
Is it Andy Richter from Conan O'Brien who's the voice of the
I've
guy
got no idea.
I think it is.
Notoru, it is. Notoru is Andy Richter.
Yeah,
and Notoru.
I thought it was him.
The guy who looks like the Vizier. He's Rene Auberjonois.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah,
I just it's so sad. Whenever I hear his voice, I'd get a little bit sad. It's like one of those sort of like, it pangs me right in the heart.
It's a shame that he died, isn't it? Yeah.
He was such a good voice actor.
Yeah. One of those where we like a lot of the times I don't even recognise that it's him. I have to look it up and then go, it was him.
Yeah. The antithesis of that is Al Pacino. I can't see anything past Al Pacino.
No,
and everyone's like, Al Pacino is such a good actor, and I'm like, he's really not.
He's just Al Pacino.
He might have been good in The Godfather, but he abandoned that way of acting a long time ago.
I feel exactly the same way about Robert De Niro. He's the same person in every movie that he's in.
And do you know what? There are some good performances there, but he is still being Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Because I love Heat. and it's got both of them in, but they are playing themselves, and that adds to the strength of the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great voice actor. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if basically every single thing that came out between in animation sense between that was a series between like 95 and something like 2005 had a voice of him in it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
he was in everything.
Yeah. She's at the school and she's tidying up, and there's a tiny little subplot about her having a crush on an older student.
They don't linger on this.
They don't.
I quite like it.
Yeah. And she manages to embarrass herself again in front of him, but she thinks that he's noticed, but he hasn't even looked at her. He's got no idea.
Yeah.
And there's the greatest tripping animation I've ever seen in a cartoon, where she just she eats shit.
Yeah, she really goes down heavy. Like, when I was watching it with Evan, he was like, "Oh, that must have really hurt," and I was like, "Yeah, it looks like it did." She trips at shin height.
Yeah, and she flips.
Yeah, I like the subplot of Haru thinks that her sense of self is derived through what people think of her.
Yeah.
Like, her mum teases her about being late, and she's really bothered by that, and that she's shown up at school, and she puts her worth in this boy, even though temporarily, and very, very slight. And then, like, as the film goes on, her sense of self is about who she is, and I think that's just so great.
Yeah. It's
really good.
A through line of the movie is people tend to find out where you're from and where you belong.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that kind of plotting.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Like, it's good for like kids' mental health to see this sort of stuff.
And it's not particularly overt.
No, it's really subtle.
Yeah.
Really, really subtle. Which I like, because the runtime is very short.
Yeah, 75 minutes.
It's my main criticism is that it needs another 15-20 minutes in the Cat Kingdom to really establish the King of the Cats.
Yeah. One thing I really, really like about like the establishment of the Cat Kingdom is literally just the castle and then like empty surrounding land.
Yeah.
So it's like the crux of the Cat Kingdom is just the kingdom. Like the people who live around aren't, no focus on them whatsoever. I think it really drives home the monarchistic anti-monarchy of the film as well. Yeah,
and also the fact that cats are elitist, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's about living in the tallest building. It's about being on the top of the cat tree.
Yeah.
Which is what cats are like. And I really do like that.
Yeah. There's some
everything's
differences.
Purposeful.
Yeah,
everything's purposeful in this. It's really good. That's a keystone of Miyazaki and Ghibli films.
Yeah. In the I'm going to keep talking about the manga because I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, of course.
How it differs. The Cat Kingdom in the manga is a ball. It's like a sphere, and they live in the center of the sphere. And there's a waterfall going from the top of the sphere down to the bottom. So there's like a line down the middle. So it's meant to look like a cat's eye from the outside.
Oh, which is why the cat's eye is everywhere, like the little floating orbs and the one in his crown. Yeah,
those are in the manga as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I don't like that so much.
I prefer the way it is in the anime. It's a bit more majestic.
Yeah.
There's also a thing about like in the manga, it's like another dimension. It's more like heaven than anything else.
Of course, the cats would think it was heaven.
Because in I'll skip ahead. It doesn't really matter. The cat Yuki, the white cat who eventually marries Prince Loon.
Yes, the one who Haru saved from starvation when she was a kid. Yeah.
In the anime, Yuki was literally Haru's pet cat, and she was hit by a car and died and went to the Kingdom of the Cats. So the Kingdom of the Cats is literally cat heaven.
Okay. I don't like that concept so much.
No, I didn't either. I much preferred the way it is in the anime. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's like another realm.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the manga about it. It's immortality for cats as well if they manage to get into the Cat Kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's the kingdom of heaven.
I do like she saves her from starvation and she continues on, and that's why it's like a small deferred gratification that she was good to someone and she gets that paid back in the future, even without asking.
Yeah, it's karmic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. She hears a voice when she gets told that she's going to be marrying the Prince Loon, and she hears a voice telling her to go to the office of something. What was it called?
Of Cat Bureau.
Yeah, the Cat Bureau. She's told to just go there. And she finds it's like a big fat cat on a chair. Who I love, Muta. I think he's great.
Oh, he's so good.
He's from another Ghibli movie, Whisper of the Heart, which is by the same author who wrote she did the manga for both of them. Yeah,
she's so's the Baron, isn't it?
Yeah,
from Whisper of the Heart.
Yeah. So she goes on a journey with the cat to try to find the Cat Bureau, and I think there's like a small connection between this scene and the later scenes with the labyrinth, where she's going through the back alleys and over the rooftops and stuff. It's quite similar to finding their way through the labyrinth, but I wish I don't think they really like settle on it very much. I think it could have done with being a bit more. This was what this was about. Like, I remember going through these alleyways and stuff, and that helps them get through. But they went for like a more comedic approach for it.
Yeah, it's almost like she's just trying to keep up with Muta.
Yeah.
Because he's standoffish, because he doesn't... She sat on him, and she called him fat.
Called him a pig at one point as well.
Yeah, she calls him a cow in the subtitled one.
Oh, did they carry that? How did they do
in the dubbed one?
How did they do the Buta joke?
So she says she elongates the moo, and he says, "Are you calling me a fat cow?"
Oh, really? That's funny.
Which is quite good.
Yeah. Because in the sub, she calls him a buta, which is Japanese for pig, instead of muta.
That's clever the way they've done that.
Yeah,
it's really clever. Like, she elongates it as if she's not sure of his name.
That's funny.
Like, she heard it, but she's just trying to get her head around his name, and he says, "Are you calling me a fat cow?" So that's good that they kept that in, because that's a bone of contention with him for a really long time until he softens.
That's funny.
That's really funny.
So she goes to the Cat Bureau and meets the greatest character in this entire film, the Baron.
Who is exactly the same character as he is in The Princess Bride.
Yes, is he really? That's funny. I think he's great. I love like these sort of shoujo anime guys in tails and top hats. You know, like
who know everything.
Yeah, not the guy with the rose in Sailor Moon. Whose name I can't remember. Tuxedo, whatever his name is. I think it's a great like character. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good trope of just person who you know is going to save the day, even though you've only just met them.
Yeah, person you know is at some point going to have a sword.
Yeah. I'm not... I think this is one of my criticisms of the movie. I don't know why there is a difference between the Cat Bureau and some of the cats and the Cat Kingdom.
Yeah.
Are they cats that haven't been allowed into the cat realm or kicked out? They're like exiles.
I think you're allowed in, but you've got to find it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's like you have to prove your worth to be able to enter the kingdom of the cats.
Because I understand why Muta has been kicked out because he is a notorious criminal. Which I also love. But I don't understand why the Baron Humber von Grickingen, is not. It doesn't live in the
because he's not
cat
a real.
kingdom.
He's not a real cat.
Oh right, okay.
He's a toy. He's a cat toy. There's there's that moment where she goes to where the bureau is, where they're in that little courtyard with the small houses. Yeah. He tells her that it's a land where souls can be imbued within inanimate objects, depending on the like worth and love placed on that object. Which is why Toto is a gargoyle.
It's a stone. Yeah.
So it's like inanimate objects given life, and the Baron is a toy that was built by somebody like 100 years ago.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
Yeah. It doesn't really go anywhere. That little bit of information. I think that's more of a thing from Whisper of the Heart than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That makes a bit more sense,
Yeah.
but it is very, very strange.
Yeah. I would absolutely love like an animated series about the Baron, just like
Yeah,
solving crimes or whatever, working
Yeah.
in his antique shop.
with Muta as his sort of like Dr. Watson, but evil,
Yeah.
like ex-crim.
Yeah.
And then Toto as this sort of like scout. That would be great.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many great characters in this movie. Like everybody just
Yeah.
like gives it their all. I love it. There's nobody who's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to see them again.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. She's ginormous inside the Baron's house, which is really funny as well. She has a tiny little teacup of his special blend.
And she sits on the chest, which is supposed to be massive, but she's like, it's just a usual seat for her.
Yeah. All of the cats show up and like take her away.
Yeah, there's a lot of cats that come through that door and then running out. I didn't get the dimensions there. I don't think you're supposed to notice that though.
In the manga, this moment is it's framed a little differently, where instead of the cats coming in and grabbing her, she feels a breeze through the door and goes to investigate, because the Baron tells her that if there's a breeze in the cat bureau, it means there's like a door's been opened, or there's not meant to be breezes in there.
Okay.
And she goes out to investigate, and then all the cats grab her and cart her off. But it's mostly exactly the same. Other than that,
I was going to say, that seems quite convoluted for like a kidnap sequence. Just grab her and run.
They didn't need to like go into it that deeply. They still do the same joke as of Muta being thrown by Toto to try to land on top, and they all just move out of the way.
Funny.
I love it. He's like,
and he's just really splats.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, although he doesn't like her, he still doesn't want her to get hurt.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
it's nice. It's an endearing quality.
Yeah.
Like instantly, I was like, oh, okay, he's the character that's the best.
There's a great scene when they're like going through all the portals and everything, and Toto and the Baron are just like barely making it, and it's like going whip.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the.
I thought we were gonna get a scene of like Toto's tail feathers being chopped. By the closing door. I thought that was where they were going with that, and then he couldn't help them.
Yeah.
But no.
I assume that Toto couldn't get into the Cat Kingdom, due to being a bird.
Maybe.
Because they like specifically allow Haru in.
Yeah, although there is a dog in the Cat Kingdom.
There is, yeah.
I saw.
Yeah. I think some of the dancers were dogs as well.
Yeah. But were they sort of like indentured servitude dogs?
Maybe.
Were they like, was that their joke they were playing, that in a Cat Kingdom dogs would be like a lower class citizen?
Yeah, I think that might have been the implication. Yeah. It would have been nice to get more like lore of the Cat Kingdom, but I think not getting it fits quite well into like the theming of the movie as well. That they're not a particularly serious kingdom.
Yeah, I agree.
So she ends up inside the Cat Kingdom, and she's found that she's shrunk now, and Muta is ginormous compared to her. Like even bigger than he was in the real world.
Yeah, much bigger.
That was something I thought was going to happen the first time I watched this, was that the cats in the Cat Kingdom would look more human-like than they did in the real world. But no, they're literally just cats on their hind legs.
They do kind of look a little out of proportion.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're like grabbing things and things. So like, giving something an opposable thumb does actually change how they look, right?
Yeah.
So his shoulders weren't like far back and down. They were like where shoulders should be.
Yeah.
So it's different enough, but not making them not look like cats, which is good.
She meets Yuki here as well, which is where she finds out that Yuki was one who was talking to her through the through the mist.
I assume she was hiding in the pipe.
Yeah.
But they don't really explain that.
It's a psychic link in the manga because they have like an emotional connection. Yeah.
Right. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, I think it would have been a bit complicated. And they would have had to change the entire relationship between the two of them as well. They would have had to absolutely go into that she was Yuki's owner before she was like hit by a car. So I'm glad they took that out.
Yeah, just having her as a stray that she saved is so much more. Like, she's not helping her because she owns her. She's helping her because she's a good person.
Yeah. I think it's a nicer message. She's taken into the Kingdom of the Cats. There's like a through line of this of does she want to actually stay there as well?
Because she feels so singular, unique, isolated in her life, and such an oddball that she's like, maybe it would be better to live here. Like, at least, like, maybe it's better to live as a princess than it is to live as a nobody.
Yeah.
And I got that, but it's very, very subtle.
It is, yeah.
Bit too subtle for kids, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's good that they framed it, her wanting to leave as more, this place sucks more than anything else. Like, it would just be a shitty place to live.
Yeah.
Because the king's...
Because it would be.
The king's an asshole. They're like indiscriminately murdering their people. Everybody's a moron. And she'd have to eat raw fish and mice all day.
Yeah, and the entertainment sucks.
Yeah. The scene with the entertainment is so good.
Yeah, because everyone's getting annoyed with her because she's so unimpressed by everything.
And she's just crying at everything because she wants to go home. Yeah.
Well, she's turning into a cat as well.
Yeah, she has turned into a cat, yeah. She's got cat ears and a tail now.
Yeah.
This is completely new for the anime as well.
Oh, right, okay.
None of this happens in the manga. Everything that happens in the Cat Kingdom in the manga takes place at the bottom floor of the tower.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all of this is completely new. The Baron coming and saving her and everything, and this is like the moments with the funniest parts in the entire film. Like Muta being inside the jelly. And
I thought he was dead.
I did as well. I thought he's not though. There's absolutely no way he's dead.
They put him in jelly. It's such a weird cat punishment. Like, he can't move. He's like unconscious in this jelly.
Eyes wide open, his mouth slack. He looks dead.
I feel like what they were going for, because they fed him up, didn't they? Yeah. So I feel like they fed him up to the point where he was falling asleep unconscious, and then they put him in the jelly. Yeah. Like they'd frozen him in a state of unconsciousness. Yeah, that's what he looked like.
Oh yeah, it's great. The entertainment comes, and it's my two favourite scenes were the knife throwing scene, and the guy who's like roaring uproariously, he's laughing, and he gets chucked, chuck him out the window.
Evan said to me, they threw that knife at that cat. Is she dead? And I was like, I don't know. Probably. And he was like, oh God.
Yeah, I love that scene. It's so funny.
But it's like, it is so cat-like. It's like, right, that happened. I don't care.
And like the cat who's like attached to the board is wearing a bikini. Mm-hmm. It's like the only cat that's worried about like showing herself off. So good.
So weird.
Then, of course, the Baron shows up and saves the day. Yeah. And the Baron is so cool when he's there. Because they even put him in a mask. And I love anything where somebody's putting a cloak and a mask and a wide-brimmed hat.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to know. How does Haru not know that it's him?
Yeah. It's like you've only met like 2 cats in your entire life.
And he left an impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. That whole bit was very swashbuckling.
Yeah.
Because then the fight starts and Yuki helps them out and that sort of stuff. But I don't know how, because they're only fighting Muta.
Yeah. Yeah. The guards aren't very good at guarding.
No. I think that's why Muta was kicked out, because he was like, it wasn't just that he was a criminal. He is the most powerful cat.
Yeah, he's just the strongest.
And he's just strongest. He's like an alley cat.
Yeah, he was just barreling into them, beating the shit out of all of them. It's great. They're like the tuxedo cats who look like the Secret Service.
Yeah, they were so funny.
They were fun, and they like drag the king away.
Yeah,
the king's going crazy. We haven't talked much about the king, but the king's a nutter.
The king is a nutter, and he is. I would say perfect casting with Tim Curry.
Yeah. Absolutely,
because he's an absolute insane person. But like, he's just like one of those cats that look crazy.
Yeah, he's got like...
You know the cats I mean? The fluffy cats that look crazy with the big eyes.
Yeah, and his eyes are looking in different directions.
Yeah.
Heterochromia as well. Yeah.
He is not in any way looking to make his son marry Haru. He wants Haru for himself.
Yeah, which is weird.
From the start.
Yeah,
it's so weird. He's a psychopath. He's
he's not a good bloke.
No.
I think he needed a bit more of a comeuppance near the end rather than being shaved.
But this is my big downfall with the film, that it needed that extra 15 minutes to be like
a bit longer,
showing that he was evil.
Yeah.
Like not just
I don't know if he was evil though. I think he's just a bit
just a cat.
Yeah, I think he was just a bit mad.
But then show that he's a bit mad, directly link the sort of like the people being thrown out to him, because it seemed like everyone was okay with that. Like it was something that was expected.
Yeah. I think they could have done a bit of having taxing the people or something.
Yeah. Or having some sort of animosity between him and the Baron.
Yeah. People didn't seem to know who the Baron was, but he seemed to know everybody else.
Yeah.
But maybe Muta just told him everything.
Maybe.
I loved the bit where they press the secret button and a panel opens up and the Baron says, "That's convenient."
Well, it is.
It is very convenient.
Well done for calling it out.
And they go through that big tunnel, and then Muta he's just there. Look, he didn't need to go through all of that. He just jumps off the side of the building.
Yeah.
The labyrinth scenes were very fun. I really enjoyed the labyrinth.
Really good. Like when Muta, they're chasing him down and Muta climbs on the wall and they all start calling him a cheat.
Yeah.
So he just kicks them into different parts of the maze so they're all separate.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
And
then Cat King shoots one of his own men.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. That was one of us, sir.
The advisors are like, but we just won't mention that to anyone else.
Yeah. In the manga, the labyrinth, they do the scene where Muta wants to run on top of on the wall. There's gravity magic in the manga, so when he tries to climb up on the wall, it's like he's hanging upside down. So he has to climb back down. Yeah, that's how they get around it in that one. But it's a lot funnier to just have that. They didn't do that because it's cheating.
Yeah.
It's a lot funnier.
Yeah. And then you've got the cats with the walls on their back who are making it, but they all line up. So then when they're knocked down,
to line up,
they get instantly to the tower.
Yeah,
it was so funny.
It's not a very good labyrinth.
No, because it's got a single pathway to the tower.
Yeah. They get through it in the manga just through the Baron working out what the pattern is in the design, where it's every third exit leads to the next part. He just figures that out immediately, and the king is watching them through his binoculars and say, "It took us 30 years to build this labyrinth."
I like that. It would have been a bit better if the Baron had have been the one to figure it out.
Yeah. It's like the Baron and Muta both figure it out in the manga, because the Baron just figures out the pattern, and Muta is just good at navigating mazes because of living in the alleyways.
That is cool. I like that one.
But I'm glad that they went for the comedic path. But it does feel a bit like they're rushing near the end.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I wanted more about the Muta reveal. I love that he's been sent away because he's a criminal, because he ate a whole lake of fish.
Yeah. Ronaldo Moon.
Ronaldo Moon. And then she just rejects the king.
Yeah.
And Muta instantly has respect for her because he hates authority.
He does. Rightfully so. There's another really funny joke where they send all the guards from the tower to go and fight them, and the staircase just collapses and they all fall down.
Yeah, and then they just creep past.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. That's that reminds me of something out a lot. One Punch Man, where there'd be like a big boss fight that's going to happen, and he just like immediately finishes it. Well, there's a scene in that where they're meant to go into like this tower of like, there's going to be like bad guys on every floor, so they're meant to like be going through the floors, beating up all the bad guys, and Saitama just punches the building instead, like blows at the building. His companion says to him like, they probably put a lot of work into this. Next time, can we just go through floor by floor?
I thought you were going to say that he either punched it or he just flew to the top.
Yeah, he just punches the building.
I like One Punch Man.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with the some of the characters in it.
Yeah, I like it, but I dislike it intensely.
Yeah, at the same time. There's bits in it that are really funny. Like Saito's just depression about being, so easy to win all the time and not getting a challenge is really fun to me.
The manga sucks now, though. It's so boring. Saitama hasn't been in it for like 40 chapters. He shows up for one scene.
I hate this. This is what I hate. This is the one thing I hate about like shonen and manga. This sort of like, let's go away for like 10 years and we'll come back to it eventually. Oh, Goku is training still. It's like, for God's sake.
It's because our main character is too powerful, so if he shows up too early, it's going to end too quick. It's like in My Hero Academia where Deku disappeared for 70 chapters. He's not in it for like 2 years.
I hate it. That's the one thing that stops me enjoying those sorts of things. Yeah, because I just can't get over that. It's not,
especially
it's
if
not
you're
layered
week
well
by
enough.
week.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I can imagine is maybe they've been like the production company have been working on it separately so that they can stagger the release. So like while Arc 1 is being written, Arc 2 is also being written animated or plotted so that they can be released concurrently, but because a weekly format is so fucking difficult to get out, right?
Yeah I think it's I'd prefer that like shonen authors were allowed to do it monthly rather than like weekly or fortnightly, because it's such a strain on them as well. Like so many of them like have like carpal tunnel injuries and everything from working too hard on all the writing and the drawing, because a lot of them do everything themselves. Like they have a team of people to help with stuff, but they're still doing like the crux of the work.
But
I have a lot of opinions on like the inner workings of Shonen Jump and the editorial and everything.
It's the same it's the same thing that's been happening with video games, right? The what do they call it? The crunch. That's it. I was going to say call it the crunk.
That's a dance.
All crunking around the office. But it's not conducive to creativity.
No, it's not. No, like pressure doesn't help anyone. That's like really, it's a high pressure environment as well. Because like if your manga isn't hitting sales targets, it's on the chopping block immediately. Yeah.
There's no time. There's no, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 years of success. If it starts dipping off, it's like this is a failure.
Yeah, it's like why a lot of people worried about Spike's family because. He had like a short illness, and it was like there were a lot of month-long or 2-month-long delays between chapters coming out. People thought, this isn't looking good for it, but they seem to have like pulled it back. I don't think it's going to get cancelled anytime soon. I mean, I hope not anyway. There's a few things that are going on in Shonen Jump at the moment that I'm hoping won't get cancelled too early. But of course, with everything's ending now as well, because like Undead Unluck ended, JJK ended, MHA's ended. I think we're getting pretty close to some other stuff ending as well. Like I think Sakamoto Days has ended as well. So like all of the big ones are gone.
Nothing new coming.
Yeah. So they need like something big which is going to fill that void, and nothing has come out yet. People think it's going to be this one called Martial King, which is like it's One Piece but with cowboys instead of pirates. Okay. And that's been pretty good. There's only 2 chapters out so far, but it's been really good. And I think this might be the one.
Is that the one that's like steampunky? The one you showed me?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. The big Deus Ex Machina, like the thing that we're gonna eventually get a hold of, is a gun which is big enough to blow up a continent. There are the thing that they've established is that years ago a group of like gunsmiths built ginormous guns which are so powerful that if anybody normal tries to shoot one, it will blow them apart just by firing one shot. So the main character is trying to be the one to own one of these special guns, and that's what the this storyline is. It's so shonen manga.
Yeah, of course, the most powerful thing.
Yeah, a gun that's big enough to blow up the world.
So stupid.
It has to be contained within 400 tons of iron because it's so strong.
It's the Death Star argument again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's we need a Death Planet now to make the Death Star seem obsolete.
I mean, they did that in Dragon Ball as well, where they had the Dragon Balls, then they had the bigger Dragon Balls on Namek, and then they had the Super Dragon Balls, which are the size of planets. So you can have a Super Wish.
We all know that power creep is a massive problem in shonen.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the formula that people like. But I find it as a big barrier to enjoying it.
It gets a bit too far sometimes.
Yeah.
There's I watched this skit that somebody did on YouTube about like the power creep shonen manga antagonist, where somebody was like, I can kill anybody with my left hand, and then he gets his hand chopped off, and he says, "You didn't know that I had a secret special power where I could regrow another hand." And it's just the more they tried to kill him, it's just like it won't work. Like they stab him in the chest, and he says, "Luckily, it avoided all of my major organs." Which happens all the time. That's literally all for one in My Hero Academia, is just pulling superpowers out of his ass so they can get away with stuff.
So that's shonen in a nutshell, really. Though,
my favourite one was where he suddenly had the power to expel all of the blood from his body when he gets poisoned.
Wow. So how does that enable him to survive?
He just regrows the blood.
That's like me saying, oh my god, I've got a real problem with my heart. My new power is I can take out my own heart.
Yeah. He expels all the blood from his body and then just regrows all of the blood because he's got a regeneration quirk.
Wow.
It's really dumb. I love it though. I do. I'm on the fence about stuff like that because it's really, really fucking stupid, but
really entertaining.
It's really fun.
Time.
Yeah. The end of The Cat Returns is Prince Loon reappears and says that I don't even want to marry this woman anyway.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
What are you doing, you dickhead?
Yeah, he's getting engaged to Yuki, the white cat, which is I thought that was nice. They don't preface this with anything in the manga. Like we already immediately know that who Yuki is. We know who Muta is immediately. They just tell us. We know that they're together because Prince Loon isn't away anywhere. He's just there. He's there the entire time. That was all different. The only thing that's similar in the ending to the manga is the crows who she walks down.
Yeah, the crow carpet. That's insane.
Don't
step a foot wrong, though.
Yeah, great visual, though.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Really cool.
Really good.
Yeah. I like the scene where they're like skydiving. And the camera like pans down. It does like a really nice little like 180-degree shot.
I think although the animation was not as good as Princess Mononoke, obviously, it had some real good set-piece animation in it.
Yeah.
Like, the labyrinth was great. Everything that happened in the labyrinth was great. The skydiving was great. The walkway of crows, the cat parade. Like, it was all stuff that stuck in your memory.
Yeah. There's a lot of nice little pieces in this one. Yeah. That's pretty much the end of the movie. She escapes from the Kingdom of the Cats.
Yep.
They all manage to rescue her. She walks down like a staircase of crows and is back at the school.
And then Hiromi tells her that her former crush is now single, and she's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fine.
And she's together. She understands who she is, and she accepts herself for who she is. Yeah, and she's like really organised, and which is something that I'm kind of on the fence at. I think she should have gone back to her previous life, been exactly the same, but been more confident about it.
Yeah.
Like got up late, but was like, I just needed a bit more sleep.
Yeah. I think she sort of is like the same person, but a bit more confident. I don't think it's like a full 180-degree, switch in personality or anything. I think the ending's fine. I think it needed something a bit more. I would have liked to see the Baron again.
Yeah, I think there needed to be like a couple of minutes at the end, about 10 minutes more in the Cat Kingdom, and about 5 minutes of more setup for the animosity between the king and his son.
Yeah.
To really make sense, to really push it over. But as we'll find with Princess Mononoke, there's a reason for this. It's because Disney have a really, Disney and Miramax have a really standardized platform for release internationally, and Miyazaki was forced to cut his products into a format that would be acceptable for American release. Yeah. And sometimes it hurts his storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's a bit shit.
Yeah. This is the shortest Ghibli movie out of everything. I think the next one is about 80 minutes.
Yeah, it just needed that extra 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, like 75 minutes. That's barely feature length, isn't it? Isn't it like 85 to be feature length?
I think you have to be. Don't you have to be 70?
Is it 70?
And that is
That's really
you
short.
You don't get a big release for that. You only get a staged release in certain markets. I think. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I liked it
fun.
much more than I thought I was going to do. What would you give it as a mark?
I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would too.
I think it's very, very fun. It could be a 9 or a 10 if it was just a bit longer. We just needed a bit more time in the Cat Kingdom. I just like the Cat Kingdom.
Yeah, I needed to understand the politics a bit more. I think if there was any film that needed a bit of expansion on some of the society stuff, the politics, the sort of internal struggle, it's this.
Yeah.
I think that would have really made the film benefit from it. The story would have been a little bit more, the stakes would have been higher. Yeah. And I know that, Ghibli isn't always a high stakes. I mean, Ponyo doesn't have high stakes. Arrietty has high stakes, probably. But Totoro, Kiki, they don't have high stakes. They're almost like slice of life.
Yeah.
But this doesn't fit with either the slice of life or the high politics. And I think because it's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's a very different feeling movie.
Yeah, I'd give it.
It's the director's only directorial feature.
Oh, okay.
He did mostly storyboarding and like key animation stuff for Ghibli and different studios. I think he worked on like Lupin 3 and things like that, and Ghost in the Shell, and he's been around. He's done quite a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Animation mainstay, but only this is a director.
Yeah.
I would give it a 7.5, and that's mainly because of the length issue.
Yeah.
I could easily see this being an 8 or 9.
Yeah, I could as well. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the dub was great.
Yeah.
I genuinely one of the best Ghibli dubs. It's really good. The voices just fit.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch it now.
It's really I really enjoyed it. Anne Hathaway, I'm not kidding, did some of the best voice acting. She was just instantly endearing, and sounded like a teenage girl.
Yeah. Oh, what was she in this? It was 2002.
I don't know.
I mean, this
must have been just.
This was before Princess Diaries, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Let's have a look.
But she has quite a young voice, doesn't she?
She was 20. She was born in.
Okay,
82.
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, she was just great. Everyone was really good at it. The guy who does Muta's voice, who is it? It is Peter Boyle, who is one of those guys who's been in a lot of different things.
Yeah, he's Ray's dad in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes, he's one of those actors.
Yeah.
But he was just really good as Muta.
He's Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein. He's the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
What else has he been in? He's in the X-Files. He's one of these sorts of actors. He's in Taxi Driver.
Yeah, he's just in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But you wouldn't ever... He's never the main character, right?
Yeah.
He's in a lot of like bit parts in TV shows. He's probably in an episode or two of Star Trek, that sort of stuff. Bit part character. But he was great. I really loved Muta. He's such a good character. Yeah, the main three characters of Haru, the Baron, and Muta are such a great threesome.
Yeah, I want to see them in more stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted the
really
whole
good
series.
comedy. Really good comedy. I'd include Toto in that as well, because I think Toto should have been in the film a bit more.
Yeah.
But like, as a group, they really gelled well. The chemistry was really good between them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, 7.5. I'd recommend watching the dub and the sub.
Yeah, I just watched both of them.
I think they're slightly different, but the jokes still work, which is not often the case with dubs. There is a problem with the Princess Mononoke dub that we will talk about in a bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
really
I
enjoyed it.
Great theme song at the end as well, over the credits.
Yeah, the music was great.
Yeah.
The scores in Miyazaki Ghibli films are always good, but this was a particularly good one.
Yeah, a good movie.
Yeah, very good. Right, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to possibly talk about one of probably my favourite animated film of all time.
Look forward to that.
So, look forward to that. Right, see you in a bit.
Bye.
Meow Mix comes in 2 varieties, original and seafood minnows. A medley of mackerel, tuna, and crunchy centers bursting with seafood flavor. Meow Mix tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk Princess Mononoke in our Ghibli episode now. I am going to prefix this with, if you have never seen Princess Mononoke, my advice to you is to stop listening to this podcast right now and do not listen to it until you have seen it. It is too complex to accurately discuss in about an hour or whatever time we're gonna, because there's so much that happens that we're not going to be able to do it any justice, and I would hate to tell you what happens in the film without you seeing it, because it is so layered and so dense, and a world is built over 2 hours that is probably unparalleled in an animated film, I'd say.
Yeah, the world building's incredible.
Yeah, so much gets over so quickly. You've got like warring tribes and elder gods and a king of the elder gods who's even somehow like he's their god.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's themes of feminism, themes of
revolt.
Revolt, industrialisation as an impact against nature,
encroachment on environment.
Encroachment and environment, the need of humanity to, invent if it wants to prosper.
I also feel like, in order to like properly appreciate Mononoke, you should go watch Valley of the Wind as well.
Yeah,
because
they do go
two sides
kind
of
of
the same
hand
coin.
in hand.
Yeah.
And they are both excellent. Probably the two best.
Probably, yeah.
Probably. I can never decide. Well, that's not true. They're very close in terms of how good they are, but this takes it for me. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the film in general, in plot. But like I say, we will definitely miss things. I watched the dub.
I watched the sub
because I knew Spivzy would watch the sub.
I've
seen the sub 100 times though, so
I kind of wish that I had watched the dub rather than the sub.
Oh, really?
Because I did find it quite hard to concentrate.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of reading.
Yeah, it's a very complex film with some complex narrative to get across. This was, when it came out in Japan, the biggest grossing film of all time in Japan.
I'm not surprised. What is it now?
I don't know.
I bet it's something really weird. It's like the like the adaptation of some random manga. Like
probably. It was it beat E.T. as the highest grossing film in Japan.
Wow.
Its problems overseas were due to essentially Harvey Weinstein. May his soul rot in hell.
Yep. Is he dead yet? He should be.
I don't know, but it hopefully it's rotted.
Yeah.
And it was the first of Ghibli's films to be released internationally, but Disney didn't want it because it was A, too long, and B, too violent. They thought it would scare people. It is a scary film.
It is, yeah.
And it was given to Miramax. Then the translation was given to Neil Gaiman.
Ugh. Gross.
Who, to be fair, did a good job, but he is a horrible human being.
Yeah, he's a horrible human being, but
yes,
he did a good job in 1997 on this.
Yes. Now, the dub does make some significant alterations to the language and things like that so that it can get across to the international audience. But the real problem was that Harvey Weinstein was very, very pig-headed, as you'll no doubt be aware. Agreed to release... Miyazaki only wanted it released if it was untouched.
Yeah.
There was no cuts to it. And Harvey Weinstein basically... he took the film knowing that he wanted to gut it.
Yeah.
And then had a number of meetings where he was really pig-headed about it and insisted on cutting it. One of the meetings, the producer, Toshio Suzuki, turned up with a samurai sword.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
And stabbed it into the table and said no cuts in Japanese to him. He was still insistent that and this is all for the second hand from Neil Gaiman, so take it as you will. Neil Gaiman was insistent that it be released as is, and Harvey Weinstein still said, I can cut 40 minutes from this. Miyazaki will agree with me. They had a secret dinner where they never spoke again after it. And Harvey Weinstein then, in revenge, only released it in certain markets, so it tanked in the US.
What a dickhead. What
a dickhead.
What a pointless thing to do.
Then, when Spirited Away came, when they saw the success in Japan, everyone was like, well, this is ridiculous. Why didn't Mononoke do well, considering it was a masterpiece? And with Spirited Away, they gave every concession to Ghibli that they could, and it was a massive, massive success in all international markets.
Yeah, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, unsurprisingly. So if you ever hear of the fact that Princess Mononoke didn't do well internationally, you now know why. Because of Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein being a gigantic pile of putrescence.
Excrement, yeah. Probably the same stuff that makes gods demons. So I'm going to very quickly, if I can, run through the plot, because
that's an ask.
Yeah, I mean... It's very complex.
Yeah,
I will say before
this movie is it felt like 6 episodes which had been put together into a feature-length film with. Like,
it could easily be a series.
Yeah.
So I watched the dub as I said. Billy Crudup is excellent as Ashitaka. He is both monotone and empathetic, which is exactly what Ashitaka should be. He could make a good Link in that way, but you've got the other main character, San, who is voiced by Claire Danes, who isn't as good. You've got Lady Eboshi, who's voiced by Minnie Driver in the dub, who is excellent. Yeah. She is just so good.
I found it really interesting looking at the voice cast for the dub, thinking all of these people are not people I would expect to be voicing characters in an anime.
No, and some of them are bad. Gillian Anderson is really good as Morrow, the wolf god. And Keith David is very good at Akoto, the boar god.
Yeah.
The bad ones are Jada Pinkett Smith as Toki. Toki's a great character, really, really good. And she's really bad.
Yeah.
And Billy Bob Thornton is just the worst.
He was weird to be in this as well, wasn't it?
Jigo. Really, really bad. And I think that's because Neil Gaiman did a really bad job doing the rescript for Jigo's parts, because he has to get a lot across really quickly, and it's just really badly acted. Claire Danes is all right, but she's the middle ground. Minnie Driver is excellent, so good. Lady Eboshi is a very complex character who's very cool, but is both an antagonist and a protagonist.
Yeah. Lady Eboshi is like the it's hard to explain like the reasoning behind her like heel turning at the end.
Yeah,
where she does get some kind manner of comeuppance, but then sees the error of her ways.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. That's my one sort of big criticism of that. She's manipulated and then instantly is like, no, we need to be at one with nature.
Yeah,
and I'm like, So, in the 14th century, a prince of the Amishi tribe, who have been hunted to near extinction by the current Japanese emperor, has to kill a god who has been turned into a demon.
Yes, yeah.
A demon boar named Nargo, who has been corrupted by a bullet, the first bullet. Like an iron ball, one of those sorts of bullets that, you know, like not a refined bullet, but an iron ball from deep in the earth. And he has become a monster, essentially. And in saving the Amishi village, the last Amishi village, Ashitaka is cursed. The boar grabs his arm and he gains the strength of a god, but also it's killing him slowly.
Yeah, it's going to kill him.
It's exacerbated by anger and fear.
Yeah. So almost immediately the movie posits this idea of like industrialization encroaching upon nature and leading to the downfall of everyone.
Yeah. Especially the downfall of
traditionalism, like the traditional society as well.
But traditionalism, your relationship with nature, and sensible thought. Yeah. Because the curse is exacerbated by anger and fear. But as he is cursed, he is forced to leave his tribe and cut his hair, and he's never allowed to come back. Yeah. But they do so. He's the last prince of the Amishi as well, so this means that the Amishi will die out. Yeah. They would have died out anyway, but this exacerbates and accelerates their sort of extinction. But they have to do it because he's cursed, and he killed a god. Yeah. Even though he did it for the village, he killed a god. Yeah. And the gods curse the tribe if he stays.
Yeah, and their laws say that when he's leaving, nobody can even watch him leave.
Yeah, so bad. Yeah. That is in the first 10 minutes. That's how complex the film is, really. Yeah. It's not even 10 minutes. But he goes to the West seeking redemption in the form of a cure.
Well, he goes to the West with his elk, which is... All the way through this, I was thinking, I wish that we had domesticated elk instead of horses. Yeah. It's just so much cooler.
I can't remember the elk's name. Yuki? No.
I don't remember.
Something like that.
I haven't even got the page up, actually.
Elk. Yakul. He is amazing. He's like the perfect companion. Yeah. He's like Brago, Aragorn's horse. He's like always there. He's emotional support. He never abandons him, that sort of stuff. So on the way, Ashitaka encounters a village being attacked by samurai from Lord Asano, who is painted as an antagonist, but is protecting his traditions. Yeah. Because he doesn't want the emperor to do away with the samurai. But the samurai are slaughtering innocents. So he encounters a quote-unquote monk named Jigo, who tells him that maybe he should go and find some answers in the mountains of the forest spirit, who is like a god of death and life. So at sunset, he turns into a god of death, and in the day, he is a god of life, and he is basically the Great Circle.
Yeah, and this has got to be based on something in Japanese myth.
Yeah, absolutely.
but I don't
Absolutely.
know what.
I envision as well the Norse wolves who chase the sun and the moon are influenced by whatever this is influenced by. It's like the monomyth, right?
Yeah.
The monomyth of nature. But there are spirits in the forest called Kodama who
are great.
they're great. They're like little rattly head men who guide Ashitaka through the forest where he sees the forest spirit and also starts to understand what is going on in the forest.
Yeah, the Kodama are like a proper Japanese spiritual myth.
Yeah.
They're like a real thing.
Yeah, there's lots of little statues of them in Japan as well.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
And they're all in Legend of Zelda as well.
Yeah, they are. They're the Deku seed people, aren't they?
Yeah, the Kokiri.
Kokiri, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
While this is happening, a human named Lady Eboshi, who is, I assume, an ex-geisha.
Yeah, I got that impression. Yeah, because I think like the is it called Irontown? The
Yes.
Yeah. It's all ex-prostitutes, isn't it? All the women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ex-prostitutes, lepers, and the men who decided they would stay in the city when she took the city by force.
Yeah.
From a neighbouring lord.
Yeah.
And the reason Asano Lord Asano, the Lord of the Samurai, wants Eboshi dead is because Lady Eboshi has opened a mine and is mining iron and making weapons with it to defend her people.
Yeah, but it's to defend the people, but there is like the implication that it's more of a power grab, and this is
yes,
yeah.
She has had enough of men, taking what is hers. But in order to mine it, they need to cut down the forest.
Yeah.
So she is encroaching on the land of the gods of the forest.
Yeah.
So Lady Eboshi's fighting a war on two fronts, essentially.
Her thing is like to literally kill the gods of the forest. Which I thought that's quite a fun little like retextualizing of this like encroaching on nature sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not symbolically destroying the forest. She's literally going out in order to kill the forest.
Yes, and I think that reading between the lines, it's not quite as simple as she wants them dead. She's still trying to prevent and repel attacks, because as she goes into the forest, she's taking away their home, so they attack. But she sees it as they are standing in the way of humanity's progress.
Yeah, there's also that sort of thing about ownership of the land.
Yeah. Yeah, she feels she owes the land around Irontown. Yeah. And she's trying to protect the people from wolf attack as well.
Yeah.
Because they are giant wolves.
Yeah, they're big. Got two tails.
And giant boar and giant apes attacking her people and killing them.
I'm just to look up. This would be really easier if my keyboard wasn't right beneath the microphone.
No, just do it.
Two-tailed wolf, Akuri Inu. It's a kind of yokai.
Is that the god?
Yeah. Sometimes called the Yama Inu or the Okami. Oh, Okami from the game Amaterasu. Yep. Yeah, those are the two-tailed wolves. Yeah.
There you go. So they are existing in mythology anyway.
Yeah. I would have assumed they were. Yeah. Because like anything to do with like the nature, like the animals and everything in Japan has got some kind of Japanese spirit associated with it. Yeah,
absolutely. So Lady Eboshi essentially repels an attack by Moro, the queen of the wolves, the goddess of the wolves, and her adopted daughter San, who is a really big character. She's the titular Princess Mononoke. Mononoke means like wraith or vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
So, as Ashitaka is going to Irontown, he encounters the he takes the low road by the river, and he encounters some wounded men who have been left for dead, and he takes them back to Irontown.
This is soon after he first kills his first people as well. When he fires an arrow.
Kills the samurai.
Yeah, and he manages to chop a guy's both his arms off with one arrow.
Yeah, Yeah, someone is holding a samurai sword high as if to kill a woman, and he looses an arrow and it pierces the arms and takes them both clean off.
I know.
And he realises that he's got the strength of a god.
Yeah, it's insane. I love this sound effect when he pops the guy's head off, though.
Yeah. There's twice he does that with an arrow. He decapitates someone, and it's very satisfying.
It goes like, bonk.
One of the things that I like about this film in general is that no one is evil and no one is good.
Yeah. It's all
Asano
it's
is not
the yin and
evil.
yang thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Asano is doing what he does for reasonable purposes. Eboshi is. Atako. Moro. San. Ashitaka. Ashitaka is probably the embodiment of balance in this film.
Yeah, I think that's the impression that he's meant to be giving off as well, isn't it? Because there's some scenes where he's like emotionally balanced as well. Like when they're all like getting all horned up about him when he's in the village, and he's just like sitting there like, I don't give a shit. I've got things to do.
Well, but he has to physically keep his emotions in check, or the
worms in his
curse
arm
takes
will go
over.
crazy.
Yeah, because there's a couple of times where he's angry and he's ready to kill someone.
Yeah,
and he has to calm himself because otherwise the curse will spread.
Yeah,
which
and
is
also,
really cool.
When he manages to find the balance between himself, he's able to use that strength to for useful means. Like when he's stopping them, the two of them fighting each other. Yeah,
and without it spreading.
Yeah.
Crucially. It doesn't spread. It tries to spread, but it doesn't because he got it under control. He gets to Irontown and finds out that the town is run essentially by Eboshi, but also by the former prostitutes who lived in the village and the lepers who had been cast out that she brings back in.
Yeah.
They all work. It's almost like socialism. That they all own the mine, they all run the mine, they all work. And Eboshi admits that she was the one who shot Nago, the bull from the start. It says here, instilling the hatred that corrupted him, which is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
And then she says she wants to kill the forest spirits because that's the way to get Irontown to prosper. She wants the gods dead because she doesn't. It's a sort of she doesn't like the samurai or tradition, because tradition is what kept her in her place.
Yes,
and keeps the lepers from being healed and the prostitutes from being members of society. So she's very complex as a character.
Yeah. It's one of those the ends justify the means.
Absolutely. And Eboshi is working with Jigo, who is a piece of shit.
He's a bit,
who is working for he's opportunistic. He's been sent on a mission. He's the head of the hunters, and he's been sent on a mission to kill the forest spirit because the emperor thinks the head is gonna grant him immortality.
Most impressive thing about Jigo is that he's able to walk on those shoes.
Yeah, well, I think the reason they put him in those shoes is to show that he's a faker.
Yeah.
He's trying to overinflate his height with those shoes.
Yeah. Or it could be like a kind of penance because they are pretty uncomfortable to wear as well.
Yeah, true, maybe. Yeah. Irontown is one of those classic Miyazaki environments where everyone's doing something on screen.
Yes, yeah. And everything is there's no background animation. Everything is in the foreground. Everything is just one plane of existence. This is something I really love about it. Yeah. They did the same thing in Cat Returns when the cat show up to take her away. It's all just one plane.
Yeah. It's everything is individually animated as well. There's bellows being operated with people who are pushing down on it while the other end are going up. But in the background, people were taking a break and they're eating and laughing and things like that. It must have been painstaking to do the animation for this film.
Like I said before, this does not feel like a movie from 1997. It feels so much later.
Yeah. It was honestly impressive watching the animation. It feels alive. It doesn't feel like animation. So the wolves attack Irontown again, and San tries to assassinate Eboshi. But Ashitaka stops them both, keeps the peace and tries to take San out of the town, but he is shot accidentally by one of the women. But what I'd like about it is they know deep down that the best thing would be peace, so they don't blame Ashitaka for stopping the fight.
Yeah.
They don't want to hurt him. They like him. And then San wakes up, but Ashitaka is near death, so she takes him to the forest spirit, who heals his wounds but can't heal the curse.
Yeah, who has the scariest face.
Yeah, he's really like a
creepy.
cockatrice.
Yeah.
He's got like bird's feet and a deer's body and like antlers of a tree, like branches, and a human face.
Yeah, man's face. Yeah.
I think he's supposed to signify everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's like the amalgamation of all living things. Yeah.
Yeah, like humans came from him as well as animals, as well as nature. Yeah. But it's at this point where Ashitaka tells San that she's beautiful, and she is a feral child who was, as humans were escaping her adopted mother Morrow, who is voiced by Gillian Anderson and is so good. They threw their baby at her feet, and instead of doing what the humans wanted and eating her, she decided to raise her as her own. Out of spite.
Yeah.
And she loves San.
Yes. Yeah.
San is her favourite out of her 3 children. The other 2 being wolves.
Yeah.
And San has a complicated relationship with Ashitaka in that she loves him, and she wants. He represents to her all the best parts about humanity that she refuses and rejects, but she also hates him because he's trying to keep the peace in a situation where she feels there shouldn't be peace.
Yeah, and he also represents like the other side to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The she who could have been as well.
Yeah.
And then you get Akoto, the blind other boar god, turn up and declare war on the humans. I love this scene. This is one of my favourite bits.
This feels like a war council scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun.
When Ashitaka admits to killing Nago, and he goes over and sniffs him and says, "I believe you and I understand, but if I see you again, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah. And the design of it's so cool. We like the lack of fur around the nose. Yeah,
and the sort of like coarse hair around his eyes, and all the shit in his eyes where he they've been weeping where he's blind. He's so old that he was suspected to have died 500 years ago, but somehow still lives. And then it's then that Ashitaka asks Morrow if he can take San with him to like escape all this, and she says no, like you need to get out of the forest or we're going to kill you. Morrow is so much fun. She's like, I wished you had have screamed out in your sleep so that I could have ripped your head off. It's like she is like a force of nature. She
really is. Yeah. Technically, she is, isn't she?
Yeah. She's really good as a character. The Boars assault Irontown, but they're completely annihilated. But Akoto is mortally wounded in the same way that Nago was, and San tries to take him to the forest spirit, but they're being followed by the humans.
Yeah.
San tries to convince him to stop so that they don't give away where the forest spirit is, but Akoto is basically transformed into a demon.
Yeah, he's gone all zombified. Yeah,
and he is scary. He's like pissing blood everywhere. It's coming
it's all coming out of his nose. Yeah,
and it's like the underside of his body is bleeding.
What rating did you say this movie had?
PG.
How?
I know. So they do end up in the forest, and the forest spirit grants a peaceful death to Akoto and to Morrow, who has been infected. And then, as it's transforming into its night version, Eboshi blows its head off.
Yes, very visceral, like very impactful. Like it just like erupts out of its neck.
Yeah.
It's this was my favorite part of the movie is at this point.
Yeah.
Where like the final act is so much fun. Like there's so much kicking off.
It's because nature and humans have to escape. Yeah. And the forest is being destroyed.
And the forest is fighting back. It's like deadly nature. It's
turned into living death.
Yeah.
So
because they're meant to be the god of life and death, and everything goes wrong when those two things have met.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the bit where this happens. It briefly reanimates Morrow's head to bite off Eboshi's arm.
Oh yeah. I wish this had been a bit more visceral, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's a very gory film for a lot of it, but in this it's just the wolf head just kind of like flicks across the screen and then her arm's gone. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that.
I wish it had have killed her.
Yeah.
Because then Toki and the other people at Irontown could have been like, no, Eboshi was wrong. We need to... And she paid the price of that, just like Morrow did.
Yeah,
because they couldn't be, I don't know what they couldn't coexist.
Yeah.
It seems a cop out to let Morrow die and Eboshi live.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Australian horror movie Long Weekend?
No.
It's it's a movie about nature like fighting back against two people.
Yeah.
Where they go camping in a gas sputtering old RV.
Right.
And they're littering. And like they hit a deer at one point and they just keep driving. And then they go to where they're like camping and they're just like starting fires and stuff. And all of the animals in the forest fight back against them. And it's like...
That sounds cool.
It's great. It's like 2 hours of them just getting the shit beaten out of them by like crows and stuff. Like getting chased by dogs. And it's great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So if you like Princess Mononoke and the bit with all the nature fighting back, I'd suggest watching Long Weekend.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I always watch a horror film when you recommend it. So
yeah. Another it's weirdly enough, there's another Australian horror movie that made me think of this as well, Razorback, about the giant boars that attack that village.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great. The boars are scary in this.
They are, yeah. Boars are scary anyway.
Yeah. They are. They're really terrifying.
Yeah.
And really dangerous as well. Don't ever go near a boar.
Yeah. If you ever see one.
Not in the 40 to 50 feral hogs way, but, you know. Yeah. And though she's reluctant and angry, Ashitaka sort of convinces San to help pursue Jigo in order to recover the forest spirit's head.
Yeah. It's more about protection than vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ashitaka evacuates Irontown and they retrieve the head and they return it to the Nightwalker.
Oh, when he's getting them to like leave the town, he's cutting it close, isn't he?
Yeah.
When he's like shouting that little speech, and I was thinking the goo's coming. You need to get out of there.
There is a lot of tension in this third act.
Yeah,
it's just really clever. And loads of people in Irontown die. They get swept up in the Nightwalker's blood.
Yeah, I love that it was like the tables have been turned about encroachment. Where instead of the humans going on to nature, it's nature coming back.
Yeah, you get a reclamation because as the Nightwalker restores its head, it dissipates into the forest and becomes basically the life inside of trees and things like that. And both the curses are lifted from Ashitaka and from San from when she was trying to save Akoto. And then Eboshi says she's going to build a better town. She's learnt a lesson, which is a bit of a cop-out. It's a bit weird. And Ashitaka says he's going to help, and San says she can't. But they agree to meet as often as they can, which is like a sort of precursor to we need to coexist.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's like, I've tried to describe it as succinctly as I can, but there is so much more going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of like behind the scenes, like just like the relationships between the different characters, especially in Irontown, how people react to each other. It's there's a lot going on.
Toki and her husband, like she knows that like he is a man from the village who probably frequented the brothels.
Yes,
but she has forgiven him, but she will not let him be the dominant force in their relationship.
Yeah,
and like how the lepers are treated and stuff like that. They become characters rather than just like, these are the lepers.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are building the guns. They're useful. And Eboshi says about how like people have discarded things that are useful. And you can see where her reasoning for progress and taking back of power comes from.
Yeah,
she's had it taken away. It's a masterpiece.
It's really good. It's very, 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 very good. It's there's a lot to think about with it. I'd like to read some like proper like scholarly stuff to do with this, like about the theming and things, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of historical context that I might be missing, and it would improve the enjoyment of the film, because especially with it being set in like 13th century Japan, when it was like feudal era. I'm sure there's stuff to do with like serfdom and things like that, which that I'm missing out on.
Well, lots of scholars have discussed this, like people like Helen McCarthy and people like that, Jonathan Clements. They're referenced in the Wikipedia article. So they talk about like conflict of nature, environmentalism, sexism, technology, and like how humanity uses it. Like Colin O'Dell and Michel LeBlanc talk about how the film sets up this criticism of humanity's mistreatment of the environment, but also sort of balances that with the progress and the sort of like encroaching technological advancements mean that dispute is inevitable. It has to happen, and that's quite a strong concept to center a film around.
It's this is one of those like animation things where I feel like the very concept of it being an animation has made people maybe not fully engaged with what it's saying. Because it's for kids. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I don't even think it is.
No, I don't think this is a kids' movie, even if it's a PG.
Yeah, it's I think the thing I like most about it is the almost like balance between creating a homogenized monomyth, but everyone in the movie apart from Ashitaka wants to reject homogeneous relationships and stuff like that. They want to become individual, present their own ideas. Even the animals, like you see the relationships between the apes and the wolves, they hate each other. And like they threaten each other and they want each other dead, but they realise that there is a part of them deep down that realises that you have to coexist. I cannot describe effectively how much I love this film. It was the first Miyazaki film I watched, the first Ghibli film I watched. It's always stuck with me. It's one I always forget how much I enjoy. Which is because as I'm watching it, I'm like, this film is fantastic.
I'd love to watch this on a big screen.
I've never seen it at the cinema.
No. I think this would be really good with like a proper sound system and everything, like a proper
Miyazaki, Miyazaki's a complex character in his own right?
So
he is like, he creates these products for children, cares deeply about children, but was a really bad father.
He's like his most nihilistic optimist. Talks about being a pacifist, and he is obsessed with war. And warplanes, and he loves that sort of stuff. There's a really famous quote from him about how like he once saw the trawling of tuna and just was like had a guttural sick reaction. But if you offered him sashimi, he would take it in a heartbeat. And I'm exactly the same in terms of like the thought of pigs being farmed sickens me, especially after seeing like Okja and stuff like that. But there's no way I'm turning down pulled pork or like bacon ever. And I think like
understanding that humans are creatures of hypocrisy, bordering on the self-sabotage.
Yeah, I think this movie in particular, like, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
Yeah.
Like
My favourite character in the film is Eboshi.
Yeah.
She will never be put under man's rule again. She'll never have her power taken away from her. And she is willing to take away every power that she can from warlords, from wolves, from boars, in order to ensure that never happens.
Yeah.
And that's why she needs to die in the film. That's the one criticism I have. And it's interesting that you had the same thing. Because, like, I think that's something that's really overlooked. I'm glad that the relationship between San and Ashitaka isn't more overt.
Yes, I'm as well. Yeah, that's
It might become that in the future, but this story isn't about that.
Yeah. It's not a prince saving a princess kind of movie.
No. It's in actuality, it's about the prince and the princess realizing that there has to be a balance and that they're both wrong.
It's quite complex.
It is. I think it is my favourite thing we've ever watched for Toonhounds.
Really? I don't know what that would be for me.
There's a lot of things we've watched, like, Dark Knight Returns I love, and there's a lot of other things that we have seen that I have, loved. But this is like, I think this was the film that re-energized my love of animation. Because I watched it as a teen, and I was just like, this is just amazing. It's like the cartoons that I was exposed to as a kid could not be seen as groundbreaking, right?
No, it was entertainment more than anything else. Yeah.
And even stuff like Batman the Animated Series, which in its own right is superb as a storyteller, a set of stories and a storytelling narrative. They are great, but they were something I was already interested in.
Yeah.
This teaches you lessons. This film.
Yeah. This is the sort of movie where you have to look things up afterwards to get more of the more out of it.
Yeah.
Or you want to get more out of it.
Like, if you are sitting here listening to this and you haven't seen Princess Mononoke, I would probably say that you are missing out on something really special.
Yeah. Like, Studio Ghibli, they are a very, very special studio.
Yeah,
they make
absolutely.
a lot of very important films, I think. Sometimes they're a bit less thematically groundbreaking than others, but as a whole, they're a studio where anything they've made is worth at least giving a go, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Earwig.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's still, there are parts of it that are really cool.
And that's another one where it's really interesting to look up the production of it.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I think most Ghibli movies could do with like their own 6-hour documentary alongside the one that Mononoke got.
It's worth saying that this does have a 6-hour documentary about its making, and there's still bits that I read about outside of it.
Yeah,
like the stuff with Weinstein and stuff. It's just so good. It is really, really clever.
I'd say it's like historically relevant.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd put this in a museum.
Yeah. It's a shame about the Neil Gaiman involvement.
Yeah.
I would.
But that's just watch the subbed. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I would say that is the right way to watch it.
Yeah.
With The Cat Returns, I think I could easily go either way.
Yeah.
I always think you should watch it first time in its native.
I do as well.
Tongue.
Yeah.
I will say that, but I think like we didn't even mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack's beautiful.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Like, probably one of the best.
And this is like a hugely influential film.
Yeah.
For like all sorts of media, like live action, video games, books. Like, a lot of stuff owes its existence to Princess Mononoke. I don't think that the concept of like Legend of Zelda now, as it is now, would exist if there wasn't Princess Mononoke.
I think, for better or worse, I don't think the prequel trilogy would have existed without Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
It's like the fantasy elements in it are very, very similar to the prequel.
Yeah.
And like the way Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings feels very Mononoke as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
'cause, one of the things I really like about this film is when they're in the forest. It's in the same location, but it feels like they're in another realm. And that is used a lot in different like nature themed films, like Avatar. Is when they're in the forests on. What is it called? Na'vi, the planet, or is that the people?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the planet or the people or both. That's very similar to that, where it feels like they're in another land. It's another another plane of existence. Same thing with Ori and the Blind Forest, that Xbox game.
Yeah,
I love that game.
It's really good. It doesn't get the kudos it deserves.
Yeah.
I would say that like what I most admire about Ghibli films are that there is nothing put in that isn't in service of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Princess Mononoke is so jam-packed full of stuff. Like every line is not a throwaway line.
Yeah, it's incredible world building.
Yeah. To do that sort of layering in 2 hours is just insane. If you had come to me with this story that I would be like, there's absolutely no way you can get that into 2 hours.
Yeah, this is a 12 episode miniseries.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I mean, James Cameron, I just read this in the article. James Cameron cites Princess Mononoke as an influence on Avatar.
Oh yeah. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so much scholarly discussion about this. I think it's amazing. It's sublime. It's just very, very well put together and conceived and considered, and it's still very watchable and understandable and relevant. Probably more relevant today than it's ever been.
Yeah. It's a shame that we keep making all of these movies about protecting the environment and, not killing everything. And it's been, nearly 30 years now, and no change. So.
And it never will.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I would give it a 9.5.
No, you give it a 10. Just give it a 10.
No, the only thing that stops it being a 10, apart from my unyielding, not giving anything a 10, is the Eboshi thing.
Yeah.
I think she gets off too lightly.
Yeah, I'm a bit like on the fence about it, because I do think she gets off too lightly, but I don't think it's enough to put death on someone. I'm always a bit hesitant to suggest that somebody be killed for their actions in a film.
Yeah, she should have to...
there should have been something.
She should have to rely on nature.
Yeah.
In some way to exist after this. And I don't know. 9.7.
9.7. I'm going to give it a 10.3 so that they added together.
Well done. Yeah, genuinely one of the best things that exists.
Yeah, it's great.
For me.
Fantastic film, yeah.
Have we got any emails?
Yes.
Excellent.
But I need to load up the emails. Oh, I've got an email saying introducing the new iPhone 16e, latest iPhone. Could not give a shit.
I mean, I don't ever use iPhones.
God, no.
I'm an Android snob.
Yeah, I like having the Google Play Store, even if I don't particularly like Google these days. We've got an email here titled Ghibli from Matthew.
I did, I thought Matt was going to send an email in.
Howdy to folks. My Ghibli-related story was that I borrowed a box set of Ghibli movies from a friend back in college that was definitely pirated, and watched through most of them that way. I specifically remember wanting to watch one with a friend, and I thought, no one ever talks about Grave of the Fireflies, let's do that one. So we did.
Wow.
Oh, and afterwards we were so bummed out, we immediately watched Princess Mononoke. I miss having that much time. Do you remember any accidental double features, or maybe rebound media you watched after a bummer of an episode or a movie? Well, when I was at university, I would often have a class in the morning and a class in the afternoon. And because I was doing film studies, we watched movies in class. So a lot of the times we would watch something in the movie, then watch something wildly different in the afternoon. I think one time I watched Pink Flamingos in the morning for my American cult films class. And then in the afternoon, we watched Toy Story 2 in Disney Studies.
That's a mix.
Yeah.
I once, oh god, this was a really long time ago, went to the cinema to see Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
And it was so disappointing.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I came out and was like, I said to my then girlfriend, do you want to see a different film? Because that was terrible. And she was like, yeah, all right then, let's go see Swordfish. And I was like, all right then. And it was just as bad. Yeah. It was a costly day for two awful films. Yeah.
Yeah.
My God,
I've
those
watched,
films are bad.
I've watched multiple films in one day many, many, many times, so it's hard to like pinpoint which ones I watched on the same day.
Well, yesterday I watched Star Wars with Evan in the morning because he had his half term at the moment, so it was just me and him, and it was raining all day. So we watched Star Wars in the morning, and then we watched The Cat Returns in the afternoon. Like
that's a pretty good double bill.
It was good, and he loved both of them. He loves Star Wars, of course.
Which one did you watch?
But he watched The Cat Returns in a Stormtrooper costume. New Hope.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, he watched The Cat Returns in a Returns in a Stormtrooper costume.
I mean, I think it's relevant. It's thematic.
Weird kid.
We got an email here from. Oh, did I finish the email? I think I did.
I don't know.
Let me check. Yeah, I did finish it. Yeah. I thought, did I miss out a sentence? But no. Just
that's unusual for Matt to post a question after so little discussion.
We've got an email here from Carlos, and it says, "Hello, Hounds. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Ooh, an LTT FTC. Tonight, I rewatched Princess Mononoke with my wife while we ate dinner. I asked if she would chew my food for me to help save my life, and she refused. Well,
yeah, that's a weird scene.
Yeah. I am old, and I have fond memories of going to see Princess Mononoke in the cinema with a group of friends when it released in the late 90s. It's still in my top ranks amongst Ghibli films. Rewatching it tonight, I had a handful of realisations. One, it does really feel like a blockbuster Ghibli film. The darker tone, the high stakes, the hero's journey hit a bit different compared to the whimsy of other Miyazaki films.
Agreed.
Yeah, we didn't say much about like the whimsical nature of Miyazaki, because a lot of his films are very, very, very whimsical. This isn't particularly so, is it? Especially when you compare it to Cat Returns.
No, I would say like out of the most whimsical, I would say, are probably Ponyo, Totoro, and Kiki. They are whimsy films, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
So Cat Returns does fit in that bracket as well.
Yeah. I think the most whimsical thing that happens in Mononoke are the Kodama with their clattering heads. That's probably about it, really, isn't it? 2, Zelda really has been trying to eat Mononoke's lunch for a while, and almost does with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but for me personally, Shadow of the Colossus hits closer to the target, although in a more art house take. Yeah. I was first time playing through Shadow of the Colossus.
Totally agree.
And you get to that point where you're like, oh shit, we're the bad guys. I love that game. I love that game so much.
It is good, and I'm glad they did a remaster. I think that
the remaster's not bad. It's quite a good. I think it's it doesn't take anything away from the original, which I like. Like you can still play the original one and still get the same experience.
I agree. I think there's that sense of killing a god. For a reason that you don't really understand, or a reason that is justified. Yeah, at least personally.
Yeah. I like there's I'm sure I've read this in a book or a story online or something about the idea of like killing gods, where it was everybody assumes that a god can't be killed. Like the concept of a god can't be killed. Like once it's set in stone, now it's like it's never going anywhere. Like even now today with like Greek gods and Egyptian gods and stuff, they're still in the public consciousness.
Yeah,
that they can't be physically killed. But in the story I read, it was about the gods can't be killed by things that existed when they were gods. Like now, the version that they used was to use a gun to kill a god because guns didn't exist when the gods created the world. And it's like that same like Prometheus, like stealing the flames. Like it's giving technology that is above what the human station should be, and then it's giving the power over the gods.
I understand what they're saying, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, that would imply that the gods created guns and kept them from us. I think I like the Mexican idea of, like, something exists as long as something is there to remember it.
Yeah.
And that, like, we still talk about, like, Prometheus and Prometheus is the guy who was strapped to the rocks, wasn't it, and had the birds peck out his liver.
Yes. Yeah.
Or is that that's not Sisyphus, is it? Sisyphus is
Sisyphus
the guy with
is
the rock.
Stone. Yeah, he's the guy pushing the boulder up the hill.
So the reason I say that is because I watched The Lighthouse recently.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's a Greek tragedy.
Yes,
it's absolutely a Greek tragedy, and it's very overt in its Greek tragedy, especially with like the wrestling and the homoeroticism and stuff like that, and the seabirds. It's fantastic. It's really great.
And
yeah. But like those stories won't ever vanish.
Yeah,
they won't.
Yeah. The last point is, both Harvey Weinstein and Neil Gaiman helped get this released in the West. Yikes.
Yep. To the film's detriment, unfortunately.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Apologies for taking so long to write. Big fan over here, and thanks for all you do.
Oh, well, we're a big fan of you too, bud.
We're the best. That's all our emails.
Cool. Right. We need to decide on another theme. We haven't done that in advance.
No.
So we will definitely do that and let people know. We've got a couple of ideas for themes, and I wanted to do another weird episode because there is an episode of Mask that I want to talk about that is basically like a fever dream. So we'll definitely do that. Thank you for all your emails. If you want to email into the show, you can do so by contacting us at toonhounds@gmail.com. If you want to suggest ideas for the show, or you want to talk to people like Matt and Carlos, then you can head over to patreon.com/toonhounds, and you can support us there, and you get access to Discord. You can suggest ideas. You get access to our brand new sidecast, Better the Daredevil You Know.
Is that what it was called?
Is that what it's called? No, Daredevil in the Details.
We just keep making up names for it.
It's because we had a number of names that we can use. It's Daredevil in the Details.
Daredevil in the Details. We're going to be doing more of those when the new show comes out on the 5th of March. Looking forward to that.
It's not. We had, because I was on M Class podcast this week, they were talking to me about Daredevil, and Jeff said that the Daredevil sidecast was so good we should just release it as a regular podcast. And I was like, I don't know how many people would be interested in that, but then it is timely, I guess.
It is, yeah. So we're going to keep it up, because I love talking about Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so much time, we've got so much back stuff to go through as well.
Yeah.
Especially because Daredevil has made an appearance in another show recently.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I'm up to the episode. I really like it. I really like the aesthetic. It feels like the 60s cartoon and animation, but updated for modern day. That thing that voice actor said about it not being woke, it's woke as shit. What is he talking about?
Bullshit, yeah.
Like, his best friend is Nico Minoru from The Runaways, who is an Asian lesbian.
Yeah.
The potential love interest has been replaced by someone who is of colour.
Yeah.
It's not been revealed where she's from or what heritage she has at the moment. Norman Osborn is black.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
What he was talking about. I've got no idea.
It's just a word that they use now. It's so fucking stupid. You might as well just replace woke with the word
cheese.
Bloingo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bloingo.
And
it doesn't mean anything. It's a word that children make up. It just means whatever it needs to mean in order for you to demean someone. It's just so stupid.
Unclean.
Yeah, exactly. It's unclean, man. Right, okay, so yeah, so it would be great if you could support us. If you can't support us, just go and leave a review of the show. Tell your friends about it. Whoever, if you've got friends who like cartoons, they would love this show.
Yeah,
as long as they don't.
This show.
As long as they don't hate British people, because it is very British.
Well, I think we're on the fence, aren't we? A bit.
We are, and it's not as uncool to be British now as it is to be an American.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah. Tables have turned, dickheads. If you can't support us financially, then please just go and tell your friends about us. Go and review us wherever you can. Like Reddit has become a bit of a hotbed of idiots, but if you go on to any podcast related thing and just recommend us, we do get listeners that way as well. There was a thing about like podcasts you love, and someone mentioned Story Lords once, and it got us a whole like string of listeners. It would be great if you could go and do some of those things.
Yeah, advertise for us.
Yeah, please, because we're terrible at it.
Yeah, I don't like using social media, so I don't know what to do with it.
And I'm never good at selling myself. Next week, if you wanted to email us in about these films, feel free. We do read every email. We do respond to every email. Mm-hmm. We like hearing what you thought of our thoughts on the show. I really get a kick out of when someone says something and it's exactly my opinion. There is a real when Carlos said that thing about Weinstein and Gaiman, I was like, yes, someone else knew about it. We really do appreciate your emails and your support. Thank you for listening as always. Keeping the lights on, and as always, be kind to each other, yourselves, and nature.
Yeah, because you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah, and don't sit on any cats.
Yeah, don't sit on any cats, because that's just mean anyway. We didn't sit on a cat for you.
Yeah, there's chairs.
Yeah,
sit on chairs instead. Right, we love you all. See you next time on Toonhounds. Bye.
Bye.